How's everyone doing today? Welcome back to On the Ball. Welcome back to another round of Premier League predictions where me and Sim go head to head in predicting Premier League outcomes. It is very close to the end of the season now, so it's time to separate the boys amongst the men. It's 421 to Sim, 416 to me, and you know the way the scoring works by now. It's 5 points for a completely correct scoreline, 1 point for a correct result. And the star man, slim pickings now, seeing as his last few picks of the season, you can't pick them again. And it's 5 points for a goal, 2 points for an assist. Let's get into the weekend's predictions, starting off with Fulham against Man City at Craven Cottage. And we've both gone through the exact same scoreline here, 3-1 to Man City.
Yeah, and I think it's a potential banana skin for City because Fulham is one of those games where if you take it too lightly and you underestimate them, they've just got this capacity to shock you. And I think they've done it to a few teams this season, although they're not in very good form. So I think you've got to back City to win this game. I think with the form City are in, they just look absolutely unstoppable right now. Haaland, obviously 4 goals in the last game against Wolves. He looks like a man back and bang on form yet again. Phil Foden didn't even play, I think. Did he play that game? But he's also a player.
He missed the game before, I think.
He missed the game before. He's been unbelievable form as well. Doesn't matter who Man City plays. They just seem to be taking everyone in stride. And they just seem to know how to win games at this stage of the season. So I've gone for City to win. But Fulham are just one of those odd teams. You just never know with them.
Yeah, it's true. Fulham are one of those odd teams, but I feel like their season has completely petered out. Like 1 win or something in their last 9 games. They seem to be already on the beach. And against a Man City side who just seem relentless at the moment. Their end of season form is, it's kicked in a while ago. You look at Rodri, the amount of unbeaten games he's had this season in a Man City shirt. I just can't look anything but a Man City win. I know it could be a potential banana skin, but I just feel like the wrath of Man City is just going to be way too strong in this game. So yeah, I agree. 3-1 to Manchester City. We go to the Vitality, Bournemouth against Brentford. I have gone for 2-1 to Bournemouth. I'm looking at Brentford. Yeah, they're playing well in spurts, but away from home, they just can't seem to get consistent results. And I feel like Bournemouth, in their last home game of the season, in front of their fans, they have a lap of honour after the game. Iraola is up for Manager of the Year as well, so I feel like they'll finish off in style at home, and I've gone for a 2-1 win.
Yeah, I think I've gone for 2-2. I think both teams like to play with an aggressive style, and I think the way Bournemouth set up will definitely create chances in this game, especially with some of the football they've been playing recently. But I do like the look of Brentford in recent weeks. I think a Tony, Wissat and Mbeumo front three is going to give Bournemouth a lot of trouble, and I think I saw Bournemouth really struggle to deal with the physicality of Ollie Watkins the other week, and I feel like if Brentford could use Tony in a similar way, I think maybe they could get a lot out of him. So I've gone for a 2-2 draw here.
Next up, Everton against Sheffield United. We know Everton are safe. We know Sheffield United are pretty much down. Sim's gone for 2-1 to Everton here.
Yeah, I think a home win is probably what's in order. Last home game of the season for Everton. A good send-off for Sean Dyche, who's done a good job keeping Everton in the Premier League, especially over the last few weeks. They've really had a sprint into the season where it was looking hairy at one point, not even that long ago, just before the Liverpool game, where you're thinking, they're very close to relegation zone. They've got some tough fixtures coming up. Are they going to do it? But credit Sean Dyche. He made sure that they did it fairly easily. Sheffield United, it is a weird one because they keep losing games, but they do keep creating lots of chances and usually do score. Brereton Diaz is in really good form. He's been a handful for whoever's they've been up against. So I've gone for them to get a goal, but I've just gone for Everton to get the win. So 2-1.
Yeah, I've really been impressed with Everton at Goodison Park. 4 clean sheets on the bounce, 4 wins on the bounce, and I don't think they're going to need a pitch invasion this time for the fans, as it has been the last 2 seasons, leaving it right till the end to save themselves from relegation. So credit to Sean Dyche for picking up at that stage of the season, the business end of the season. And Sheffield United have been doing all right, getting a few goals of late, but I feel like they're going to come up against a resolute Everton defence, as they have been the last 4 games at Goodison. And as you said, the last game at Goodison, I feel like they will want to put on a bit of a show for the fans. So I think they're going to keep it tight, pick off a couple of goals, 2-0 to Everton, in my opinion. Newcastle against Brighton next. We've both gone for the same scoreline here, 4-1 to Newcastle in their last home game this season. They've been brilliant at home of late, scoring so many goals. It seems like a minimum of like 3 or 4 goals in each home game recently. With the attacking talent that they have, Gordon, Isaac, Bruno Guimaraes starting to chip in now. They look brilliant and they look like a real force at St James's Park. And Brighton, they did get a win last time out, but I just feel like away from home, I don't give them a chance here, and I feel like the way Newcastle play will completely, perfectly counteract with the way Brighton play, and they'll pick them off big time.
Yeah, and I just think you look at their front three and it's perfect for playing a team like Brighton. So clinical in transition, so pacey, so difficult to stop, especially in one-on-one situations. Isaac and Gordon are two of the hardest players to stop in those kind of situations. I see Brighton really having a lot of difficulty stopping this Newcastle front line. I expect Brighton to dominate possession, but I expect Newcastle to dominate the scoreline. So I've gone 4-1 to Newcastle here.
Tottenham against Burnley next. Massive game for Burnley here. They need a win. Sim's gone for 2-1 to Tottenham.
Yeah, I can't see it happening for Burnley, unfortunately. I think Tottenham obviously are a team at the moment low on confidence. So I can envisage a period in the game where Burnley are looking resolute. They're frustrating Spurs. Spurs are looking to break them down. I do feel like once they do break the deadlock, Tottenham, they will go. I think I can see it being like Burnley taking the lead, Tottenham getting a bit tetchy, but once they break the deadlock, they do turn it around and win the game 2-1, maybe even later on. I've seen it happen before with Tottenham this season. I also think Tottenham in one of those periods where, because the confidence is so low, you just need to get that win over the line to stop the rot, which at the moment we want to avoid 5 losses in a row. So I've gone for a tight 2-1 victory, and I unfortunately think this will be the game that relegates Burnley.
Yeah, I agree. I think it will be a really tight game up until maybe the latter stages of the game, the last 15-20 minutes, where Burnley know they need to go for it if they have any ambitions of staying in the Premier League. And I think the gaps will start to appear at that point. And I think that's when Spurs are going to strike. And I think, it could be 1-0, 1-1 going into those stages of the game. And then I think Spurs, with the firepower, well, we're not showing it at the moment, but with the clinical edge that we have with likes of Heung-min Son, I do feel like we can get goals in the latter stage of this game. So I've gone for 3-1 to Tottenham. Moving on to West Ham against Luton. Sim's gone for 4-0 win to West Ham. I've gone for 1-1. I feel like Luton are going to come with a game plan. I feel like they're not down yet, but they seem like they're down with the points tally and the amount of games left. But I feel like them within themselves, they'll think they've got a slight chance of staying up, judging by what maybe the Nottingham Forest score is in this weekend. And West Ham, on the other hand, they just can't. They're just looking terrible at the moment. They look like they're on the beach. They know Moyes is going at the end of the season. I think that's 1 win in their last 8 or 9 games for West Ham. And I feel just Luton will just be a tough nut to crack. With Adebayo back in the team as well, they have that presence up front. So I can see a draw happening here.
I think this is going to be the end for Luton, unfortunately. I think it's Moyes' last game in charge at West Ham. I think as much as they're all ready to see the back of him, they'll want to give him a nice send-off because of what he's done at the club. He's done a good job. And I can see it being a bit of a party atmosphere at West Ham. And I also think Luton, obviously needing the victory in this game, they're going to set up perfectly for how West Ham like to exploit their opposition. I think with the likes of Bowen, Paquetá, Kudus, Antonio, I think they're going to run riot against this Luton back line, who have been known to take in a few batterings this season. And Luton, knowing they need the victory here to kind of give themselves a realistic chance of staying up on the final day, I can see them going for it a bit, being a bit brave, which they have been all season. And I think they can. I reckon they're going to be unstuck, and they're going to be on the end of a mauling here. So I've gone for 4-0 to West Ham. So
you reckon relegation's done and dusted by the final game?
I do.
Wolves against Crystal Palace next. Sim's gone for 1-1.
Yeah, I think two teams who play in a similar way. I think Palace doing it to better effect at the moment with Olise and Eze in those 2 number 10 positions. I do think Wolves are not in the best of form right now, but I think at home with, I don't know if Neto's coming back, but they've still got the likes of Cunha in the forward line and Hwang Hee-chan now back, so they've got that bit of threat in the forward line. And both teams like to set up in a similar way, so I could see both teams cancelling each other out here, so I've gone 1-1.
Yeah, I feel like just Palace are just playing that much better than Wolves at the moment. Wolves' season was done and dusted, and yeah, Palace's season was also done and dusted, but they seem to be playing with with a purpose with Oli Glasner just coming in, and he's really started to get them playing really well. 4-0 at home against Manchester United last week, and I see them just nicking a win here at Molineux with Wolves. Not really playing. Yeah, they've got their players back, but I mean, they're just not playing too well at the moment. Yeah, they got a win against Luton, but apart from that, they're struggling to get results. So I've gone for Crystal Palace just to edge this one by 2-1. Nottingham Forest against Chelsea. Both of us gone for goals. I've gone for 3-2 to Chelsea, and I can see that Nottingham Forest giving Chelsea a really tough time. Chelsea are finding it hard to pick up wins on the road, especially of late. But with the kind of newfound of form that Chelsea have found, with the amount of goals that they got in this team, I can see them just edging it with the likes of Cole Palmer, Noni Madueke in form, Gallagher in form, and also Nicholas Jackson in form. I can see them just edging Nottingham Forest out here.
I think Forest will know that if they get a point, there's a really good chance that will be survival for them. I think they'll be fighting tooth and nail for it, especially at home against a Chelsea side who are in good form, but away from home don't seem to be as good, I think, than they are at home, or as confident. And I think it'll be a really important game for Nottingham Forest. I think they got some really good tools to hurt Chelsea as well. Chelsea obviously being in good form, I can see them opening up Forest, but I can see Forest really doing some damage on the counter-attack as well. I think an open game here, and I think Forest will take this down to the wire and earn a point, and I think that point will be enough for them. So I've gone for 2-2.
Manchester United against Arsenal. Sim's gone for 3-1 to Arsenal.
Yeah, Arsenal in great form, and Man United just look absolutely shambolic at the moment. I know they are a bit better at home than they are away from home, and you never know in these kind of results. Usually, I think Arsenal are one win in 10 one win in like 15 games at Old Trafford. So it is one of those bogey grounds for them, to be honest. So maybe there will be something in the air on come Sunday where Arsenal might struggle a bit. But in terms of the form both teams are on, obviously Man United, I think, winless in something like 8 games or something. I mean, they only one win in 8. Like they're really, really struggling. Even against Coventry, 3-0 up and couldn't even see that one out. Obviously, last game out, 4-0 away at Palace. They were absolutely dominated. I don't know if they got any players back for this game, because obviously they were playing Casemiro and Evans at the back, and it was just no Rashford, no Bruno. So it was very much a mix and match lineup. But I can't see anything but Arsenal dominating, opening them up, scoring loads of goals and winning the game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any of their defensive players are going to be back, but there is a chance that Bruno could be back. I'm not sure about Rashford, and I've gone for 5-0 to Arsenal, and I'm looking at the way Man United playing at the moment. They just look like a completely defeated team. Nothing in there to go on. There really isn't, and it's a bit of a shambles at Old Trafford at the moment. Ten Hag are probably on his last legs as a manager at Manchester United, and Arsenal obviously going for the title. They know exactly what this game means to them, and I see a complete battering, particularly if he sticks with Casemiro and Evans at centre-back. My prediction is based on those two starting the game, so Casemiro just looks a shadow of his former self. The amount of times he was dribbled past in that Palace team, and I see Arsenal running riot here, 5-0. Villa against Liverpool is the Monday night game. Sim's gone for 2-2. I've gone for 2-1 to Liverpool. Aston Villa have got that European game against Olympiacos away in Greece on Thursday night, and I feel like that could be a bit of a detrimental effect in this game against Liverpool. Liverpool they beat Spurs in a convincing victory. A few weeks before that, they went away to Fulham and won 3-1. But apart from that, they are flattering to deceive a little bit. But I just feel like Villa are going to come into this pretty tired, knowing that top four is pretty much wrapped up. So I think a Liverpool win, 2-1.
Yeah, I think a draw would go a long way for Aston Villa. I mean, with Spurs having Burnley, obviously, as a Tottenham fan, we don't want to beat City. But if you're Aston Villa, obviously, I don't think it's done until it's done. So I think they're going to really, obviously, depending on what happens on Thursday, if they go through, they might have half an eye on that Conference League final. If they go out, then obviously this is all they have to play for, and I can see them giving them a bit more motivation to try and get a point here, and it does look like they might go out. Obviously it's going to be a really difficult game at home to Liverpool, but I do think as well the way they play with Bailey on the wings and Watkins up front, I can see them getting some joy in the forward line, but I can't see them holding Liverpool out, even in recent weeks Liverpool have been looking lacklustre. They still create chances, and Villa, there's one thing and they do give up do give up chances, and they do give you chances to score. So I can't see Liverpool not scoring here. So I've gone for 2-2.
And finally, it's the Star men. A big head-to-head this week. It's Heung-min Son against Anthony Gordon.
Come on, Sonny, at home to Burnley. Time for a nice end-of-season hat-trick.
He did score a hat-trick last time out against Burnley in the early stage of the season. I've gone for Anthony Gordon. Like we mentioned, at home to Brighton, they do have the tools to really hurt this Brighton side, that the way they like to play. And I think Anthony Gordon, if Newcastle are going to hurt Brighton in that fashion, Anthony Gordon is going to be imperative to that. 10 goals, 10 assists this season, and I'm backing him to get more this weekend. So those are our predictions. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What are your predictions, and who do you think will come out on top this weekend? Thank you everyone for watching us today. Like, subscribe and comment, and we'll see you next time.